Hi everybody, welcome back to the channel. Now this is a very old, very interestingly shaped piece of yew. I've had it for quite a while and I've never really had inspiration as to what to do with it. That is of course until now. So let's not waste any time and get started. Okay, now the first thing we have to do is to cut a length of this piece because we need to make two blanks out of one of these sides. There are going to be quite a few more ingredients and steps than that, but let's do it one stage at a time. I think, after giving this a good look over, that this is the area that we're going to take a slice out of. So, with my pen, I'm going to mark a line down here, get this across the bandsaw and cut off this whole side. That was a nice successful cut, and it's shown the absolute amazing grain in this wood. I really can't wait to get started on this one. Okay, we're not quite done with this piece yet. We need to cut it down the centre and make two 6-inch round blanks. Okay, here's our two yew blanks that we've just cut. Now I've just spent a few moments removing all of the bark inclusions from these pieces and all the dust and debris because we are going to be using these in conjunction with resin. It is my intention, and I've had this idea for a while, to secure these two pieces a certain distance apart from each other, put them into a mould and fill it with resin so we end up with wood, resin and then wood. And I think that's going to make for a really attractive blank. Now what we're going to make with it I haven't quite decided yet, but this is the first step that I want to try and overcome first. Now to make things a little bit more exciting, in this middle area I'm wanting to add this stuff. Right, this is a copper mesh. It's very, very fine. It's used in general to keep slugs and snails off pot plants, but I'm going to use it because I think it's really quite attractive and I think it would look beautiful in the centre, especially if we choose a nice colour resin to go along with it. So first step, I think I'm going to cut a length of this and see what kind of shape I need to get with it in order for it to fill this area. Okay, I think we've got it. I folded over the edges, almost reproduced some kind of doily effect, if you know what a doily is. A lot of you won't. Okay, I'll get this to sit round in this piece here and then we'll look at finding a way of attaching these two pieces together so I can sit it into the mould the right distance apart. Right, now I'm going to attach it with either these sticks, and I've got a slightly thicker one as well. These are like the tongue depressors that the doctors used to use, or may still use. I don't know. Right, I think that should do it. Right, I'm going to glue this one on and then see if I can get our mesh inside. In fact, no, I'll put the mesh inside first and then tweak it. Right, we'll put some CA glue on the stick. Some rapid hardener on the piece, and when I hopefully bring these two together, it'll stick relatively quickly. There we go, brilliant. Nearly got my finger as well. Okay. Right, now with those secured, I can play around and move this mesh around to try and get something that looks pleasing to the eye. I'm not intending on using an opaque resin. I want a relatively clear one, so we get to see this through the walls, as it were. Next problem we've got is getting all this into there. Okay, now this piece here does have a dip, and this is the one I've got to make sure I don't get an air bubble in as I'm pouring the resin, so we'll leave that on the top. I wouldn't turn it the way around because the lower piece has an even bigger dip, so that has the larger problem. So we're putting the smaller problem to the top. I really hope this is making sense. It makes complete sense to me, but I have been thinking about this for a while. Right. Going in. There we go. Okay, so far so good. All I've got to do now is mix some resin and get it in there. Okay, it's time to start mixing some resin. I think for this project I'm going to mix 2 lots of 600 ml, which equates to about 22 fluid ounces, so 44 fluid ounces in total. We're using the Let's Resin Deep Pour Epoxy, which is in a 2-to-1 ratio, so I'm going to add 400 millilitres to each one, and then with part B, another 200 millilitres to each one. Okay, we've got these ready to mix, but before we mix them, I am going to add a little bit of colour to each one. 2 subtle colours, they are fairly close to each other, and you probably won't notice once we've put them in, but I just wanted to see what they're like anyway. One's an orange and one's a caramel. Now we're not going to add an awful lot because I don't want this to be opaque. 5 or 6 drops in there. And the same in this one. And my wonderful mixing machine from Let's Resin. It does a brilliant job, and it's so much easier. Right, the caramel is a little light, so let's just add a few more drops. Okay, excellent. Right, I shall take this out and sit it to one side, allow it to drain. Now I'm just going to give these 2 a little while to sit, just to degas themselves a little bit before we pour. Okay, these 2 resins have had a chance to sit for a while. I don't think we're going to see much in the way of separation. I just really wanted to see what these colours were, and I think the mix of the 2 will suit the yew pretty well, and the copper, of course. So I'm going to add about half of each one at a time. Give it a chance to flow into all the crevices. Just starting to wonder if I've miscalculated again. And the rest of this one. Okay, now I'm going to give this a couple of hours just to sit here exactly like this to see how much this level drops. If it goes below this surface, then I will add some more. Well, I'm happy that it's not going to absorb any more resin, Then I shall shove it into a pressure pot and leave it alone for a few days. Okay, we're nice and safely out the pressure pot, so it's time to get this piece out of the mould. Now, I have had a little go at releasing it from the edges, and I've hit it with a bit of heat, and it's not really moving. So I'm going to put this back on its worm screw, put the tailstock in, and then start cutting this off. Alas. Well, that didn't want to come off, did it? Look at that. Okay, this is looking pretty good. I'm glad we didn't go too heavy on the colour in the resin. We can see the mesh quite clearly, which is good. Now, I've got a few ideas what I want to do with this, but before we discuss those, I'm just going to start taking down this surface to reveal the wood and get rid of the lollipop sticks. Right, I just remembered that we are dealing with yew, so I'm just going to move over to the respirator helmet. But I am loving the way that the copper is starting to show through on the surface, just giving those little glints in the light. I do like that. Right, let's carry on. Let's get this perfectly round. Okay, we've pretty much cleared all the resin off the wood. I really do like that effect. Now, I think it's time to start thinking about what we were wanting to do with this. Now, the few options I had was obviously a vase or something like that, but with this being quite clear, I don't think that would be particularly effective. Also, same goes for creating a pot as well. We've created quite a nice pattern in there, so I'd like to make the most of that I can. Now, if I get a light, Alexa, turn off workshop lights. So a light in there, I think is going to look quite unusual. So I think some sort of lamp is the way forward. Okay, so what's the best way of doing this? The light needs to be on this end, So we need to drill up, just break through the surface of the wood, and then do a bit of testing with different lights to see which is the most effective. Now, while we're in that orientation, we'll create a nice foot and a recess so you can hold it again, turn it around and do the top. That sounds like a plan. Let's just clear away a bit of this resin on the bottom. Okay, we've flattened off the base a bit. I'm just going to start drilling up with a 12mm bit up to the depth of that blue tape, and then we'll investigate and see what we can see. A little bit of resin just on the point from the brad bit, so we need to go in about another centimetre. Okay, I've got a little LED bulb. It's not very high watt. I'm just going to widen this hole a little bit to see if I can get it inside to see what kind of effect it gives us. Okay, once that's polished up, I think that is going to look quite nice. I do want to go a bit brighter. Okay, I'm going to go with one of these little LED lights which I've used before. It's going to give us a bit more flexibility in terms of mounting, but I'll sit it just below the surface. I won't actually put it inside the piece. So I'm going to widen this up now so we can get this guy in. Okay, I'm first of all going to go in with this Forstner bit. It's just a fraction smaller than our LED, so it has like a wall to sit against when we're positioning it. And then after that I'll go in with a wider one so we can actually fit it in. Okay, that seems to have worked. Let's try our little LED again. Alexa, turn off workshop lights. Not like that. Alexa, turn on workshop lights. Okay, great. So first part, excellent. Right, so I need to quickly take off the rest of this lump here and then start creating a recess so we can hold on to it when we turn it around. Okay, we're all turned around. First job now is to part off our waste block at the top. Okay, that's the end taken off, so in a second we'll flatten that. I just wanted to think a little bit about the overall shape of this piece. I don't want to go in too narrow at the top because it won't give us enough room for a decent bowl. So I think just a gentle curving in from the top and the bottom so it comes down about maybe 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch on each side. Just a very, very gentle curve. I think that'd be nice. But I like that shape. It's really quite elegant. Right, so I'm going to bring out the steady rest to hold this securely while I put a little bowl in the end. I absolutely adore that. I really don't mind saying it. Right, okay, I'm going to sit up for sanding. I'll let you watch a bit of it, and I shall bring you back when it's all done. This is isopropyl alcohol as usual. That gives us the first idea of how this is going to look with the finish on. Wow. An hour of sanding was all worthwhile. This wood is just beautiful. Okay, right, I'll let this dry off, and then we'll come on with a sealer, and then very definitely some abrasive paste. Right, I'm going to put a shellac sealer on this. Tell you what, the resin did a heck of a job. There's no gaps or anything like that I can see. Okay, as ever, we'll let this dry and then come back with an abrasive paste. Okay, I'm going to be going on with a couple of experimental abrasive pastes that my friend has been developing. I've just been giving him feedback. This is 1.1. It's a variation of the one I've been using for the last month or so. It's quite a loose mix, so I'm going to be wearing a face shield as I'm rubbing this in. Now, normally I would just hold the cloth against the pieces as it was rotating to buff it in or to rub it in, but this time I've got a mop kind of brush, sponge. I've got a mop sponge on the end of my drill, so I'm going to be doing like that, similar to what a car polishers use. I'm very glad I used the face shield. I got spattered. Oh wow, that does a heck of a job. Right. I'll wipe this off with isopropyl, and then we'll go on with superfine variant 1.3. Okay, this is a finer mix. I'll apply this in the same way. Okay, we're going to go on last of all with a friction polish. This is a homemade one with a shellac mix and linseed oil. I'm just going to be dabbing my cloth in here, get this spinning, and then just keep on holding it against it as I go up and down. Face shield on again. Wonderful. Right, let's turn this into a lamp. So we're all ready now to bring this little guy to life. First thing we have to decide is which is going to be the front and which is going to be the back. Now the widest aperture is there. I have actually shoved the light in already, and this definitely looks the best place to be the front. So the back is going to be there. Now the reason why we need to know where the back is because we've got to drill a little hole to feed our cable through. Just a bit of tape on there to protect the wood. And now with a very steady hand and pounding hard, I don't think I breathed during that. And there we have a nice little hole. Right, I have desoldered the LED already, so I can push these two little guys through, hopefully. Get it from the inside. And now comes the task of resoldering these wires. I did photograph where these wires came from, just in case I forgot. Right, we better check it still works. Oh, thank goodness for that. Right, I'm going to position this into the base. It's only going to be a temporary positioning for now, because I do want to make a better bottom for this eventually. But this needs to be tested for a while to make sure it is going to be suitable. So I'm literally just going to attach this in with a bit of blue tack. Got it. Excellent. Right, I think we're about ready. Alexa, turn off workshop lights. Oh, that's cool. Now, one thing I've noticed from previous projects where I've made lights and lamps and things like that is that it's really, really hard to get an accurate representation on camera. But I assure you that looks amazing. Actually looks good all the way around, doesn't it? Okay, well there we go. A yew lamp made with resin and copper mesh. I absolutely love making projects like this. This one's been living in my head for quite a while, and now to have actually done it is a great relief. I've been holding on to this copper mesh for about a year with this in mind. And we've also got a little dish on the top, a little bowl, so you can put the keys in there, or an apple. Don't put an apple, it's you. Although it is pretty well sealed, so it should be safe. Anyway, there you go. I hope you've enjoyed this one. If you have, I would really appreciate a like and subscribe and all the usual things. And if you leave a comment as well, you are going to be entered into the giveaway the next time we do one. If you fancy doing a project like this yourself, then I can certainly recommend the Let's Resin range of products. There's discount codes in the description below, and there's a new discount code for the UK Amazon site. Well, there we go. Thank you very much indeed for watching. I'm going to go and show my wife now, and I'll see you all next time. Thank you.